The Sacramento Kings have had one of the most loyal fan bases in the entire league for a long time, but it feels like their loyalty hasn't really been rewarded at all. I mean, we're talking about decades of underperforming, missing the playoffs, and overall just some really bad basketball and very questionable decisions. This team actually traded away a prime DeMarcus Cousins, who was considered one of the top big men in the league at the time, in a deal that was centered around Buddy Hield. Hold on though, there's an interesting backstory here. The Kings owner believed that Buddy Hield had the potential to be the next Steph Curry. He was so determined to get Buddy that even while Buddy was still with the Pelicans, he would approach him and say, "We're gonna get you." Yeah, nothing about this is weird at all, guys. The Kings were so poorly run back then that many people actually believed that DeMarcus Cousins was the problem. Fast forward to today, and it feels like history is repeating itself in more ways than one.
It's ridiculous. It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Yes, man, this is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Despite some brief moments of hope, the Kings recently parted ways with head coach Mike Brown. Mike Brown was the coach of the year in 2023, and only the second coach in Sacramento history to win at least 40 games in a season. Mike Brown's departure would signal yet another round of instability for this franchise. With all of this dysfunction, the Kings would force De'Aaron Fox's hand. Guys, we have to talk about the mess that the Kings have created that just keeps getting worse. But before we do, if you guys don't want to have as bad as luck as the Sacramento Kings or are just enjoying the content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And speaking of making smart choices, if you're looking to catch your favorite team live without the headache, let me tell you about Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness for the new year, because when you bring people together at live events, the experience is just that much better. With Game Time Picks, bringing people together for a live event is now easier than ever. What Game Time Picks does is it filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And what's awesome is that this is only one of Game Time's many amazing features. Personally, my favorite Game Time feature is their lowest price guarantee. Essentially, Game Time will get you the lowest prices for your seats, or they'll credit you 110% of the difference. You literally can't beat that. Guys, make your lives easier and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code COOP for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code COOP for $20 off. What time is it? It's Game Time. Thank you, Game Time, for coming through and sponsoring today's content. Sort of like how Boogie Cousins was unfairly scapegoated for the Sacramento Kings' struggles, De'Aaron Fox is now facing similar treatment. The situation was made worse by comments from Fox's former coach, who had suggested multiple times that Fox needed to step up in a big way.
Fox has to step up. He's a great player, on the verge of being a superstar. You have a lot of responsibility if you're that guy, and he's that guy. And he can't be a part of not being locked in. And he damn sure can't be a part of letting it go if we're not as a team.
The Sacramento Kings roster is so poorly constructed that everybody keeps asking for more from their star, De'Aaron Fox, who's already having an incredible season. Just check out where Fox ranks among all NBA guards this season. 25th in rebounding, 22nd in assists, 12th in steals, 5th in points per game. And yet, somehow people are still saying that De'Aaron Fox is the problem? Surely the Kings' problem couldn't be their poor roster construction. It's definitely De'Aaron Fox or Mike Brown, right? The Kings made a big splash this offseason by acquiring DeMar DeRozan. But unless he's somehow turned into a player like Kawhi Leonard or Jaren Jackson Jr., they were always still going to be facing the same issues that they have this season. What this team has really needed was a rare type of player, a spacing rim protector to pair with Sabonis, and overall, just more defensive wing depth across the board. Right now, the Kings sit at 16th in defensive rating. Mike Brown is a defensive-minded coach, and a pretty good one at that. But even for him, it's tough to turn Play-Doh into lemonade. But hey, Mike Brown definitely tried his best.
Hey! Fucking stuff! Hold on!
Turn the jets on! Turn the jets on!
With somebody needing to speak up about this team's roster issues, De'Aaron Fox has been very vocal about wanting more talent and better overall roster construction.
We have to find a way to get better, whether that's, players that aren't in this locker room or the players in this locker room. We have to be able to buckle down and get better. So,
at least with Fox's calls for a better roster, the Kings would at least make an effort to address these concerns before moving on from Mike Brown. According to Ramona Shelburne, before moving on from Mike Brown, the Kings inquired about Chicago's Zach LaVine, New Orleans' Brandon Ingram, Brooklyn's Cam Thomas, and Washington's Kyle Kuzma. Bro, what? So they also explored smaller moves just to change things up, as one source put it, and they even asked Mike Brown if there were roster or staff changes that might help. I'm sorry, I just can't get over who they reportedly had interest in. I mean, these guys were really trying to build the bad boy Pistons here. Despite the reports that no one wanted to actually fire Mike Brown, the Kings made the decision to part ways with him during a 5-game losing streak without making any prior moves. And I have to say, the way that they handled this entire situation just rubs me the wrong way. The Kings allowed Mike Brown to run the team's film session and practice that Friday morning following a tough loss to Detroit, only to inform him of his firing while he was on his way to the airport to fly with the team to Los Angeles. Nobody wanted to fire the guy, but you're telling me that he couldn't even get some basic decency when it came to his termination? I understand that you guys didn't like the way that negotiations went down in the summer with Mike Brown leaving your offices with a really big bag of money, but was letting this man go the way that you did really the move? As you guys could guess, this ticked off fellow coaches around the league.
So I'm not surprised that Mike Brown got fired, because I got fired by the same person.
The way that it was handled was classless. When Mike, pours himself into his job like he does, he deserves better than that. I just thought it was, to be honest with you, the way it was handled.
With Brown demanding so much out of Fox consistently, all fingers would be pointed at him when it came time to blame somebody for this firing. But why would Fox be so eager to see someone he supported so strongly get let go? After all, just this past summer, he was advocating for Brown's extension, even saying that "I don't want another coach." Fox would clear his name on X, saying that there was never any pushback about anything. This narrative of us butting heads or me going to management saying anything is BS, so you can run with that if you want to. If you know De'Aaron Fox like I do, then you know that he's not the type to beat around the bush with anything. For better or for worse, he's going to tell you exactly how it is, and that's a quality that I love to be around. I honestly think that all of us would benefit from having more people like that in our lives. So with all of this going on, it would come out that the firing was actually GM Monte McNair's decision, but the Kings owner had given the green light to pull the plug on the situation. The final straw for McNair had to be the bad loss that this team had to the Pistons.
Over to Malik Beasley. Beasley to Ivy for the pump fake. Oh, he got fouled. Oh! Yes, he did! Yes, he did!
The funny thing is that loss wasn't even fully Mike Brown's fault, but when your team is in the middle of an 0-5 homestand and constantly falling in the standings, you have to do something to save face, and in this case, that something was firing Mike Brown. If I'm De'Aaron Fox, I'm sort of looking at everything that's going on around me and scratching my head, and that's sort of what he's done. About a month ago, Fox appeared on Draymond's podcast and made it clear that if things don't improve in Sacramento, it's going to be hard for him to stick around.
What was the motivation for you to pass on the extension?
For me, man, it has all to do with the team, the organization. Where are we going? I want to make sure that we're in a position to try to win in the future, because that's ultimately what I want to do. Like, I feel like I'm continuing to get better as a player every year. But for me, it's, are we looking like we're continuing to get better year after year? And are we going to be able to compete at a high level? Mm-hmm. And that's all mine is. Like, if we can show that this year, like, you sign the extension now. If not, like, I still have another year, but that's where my mindset is. I love the city. Like, I love being here. I've raised my family here. I would love to be here and retire here. I mean, how many people can say they played in one organization for their whole career? Like, right. I want to be a part of that select few people, but at the end of the day, I also want to win.
After this season, Fox still has 1 year left on his contract, but things are definitely starting to heat up in Sacramento. Given the state of their roster, there's a real scenario where it might be in the Kings' best interest to trade Fox and just rebuild. Rumblings around the NBA suggest that De'Aaron Fox may push for a trade before the NBA trade deadline, with the Kings likely open to exploring all options. However, that is just speculation, and reports indicate that for now, Sacramento has no intention of trading Fox before that deadline. As hard as it might be to say, the Kings are much better than their record, and that's reflected by their positive point differential. They've had a lot of fourth quarter letdowns and overall collapses. This team is going to improve organically as their luck gets better and they tighten up, but they shouldn't fall in love with that improvement. To seriously get better, this team is going to need to make a move. The question is, what should that move be? Earlier, we saw names like Kyle Kuzma, Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, and Cam Thomas be mentioned. But do any of these players actually move the needle for the Kings? I'm really hoping that the Kings can surprise me and make a move that sets them on the right path. But let's say that they don't. Those Fox trade scenarios are looking pretty juicy. Tim McMahon suggests that if things were to go south in Sacramento, teams like San Antonio, Houston, and Miami could be in the mix for De'Aaron Fox. I'm all for any of these destinations for Fox. Pairing him with Wemby in San Antonio would be a nightmare for the league for years to come. A dynamic point guard like Fox alongside Victor, that would be a sick combo. Returning to Houston where Fox grew up would give the Rockets the star that they've been missing to become true contenders. Houston is already a solid team, but they're still one piece away, whether it's an internal leap or an external star. And then there's Miami. The Heat have been in desperate need of an upgraded point guard for a while, and Fox could be the answer. On top of that, he and Bam are already close friends, which would make the fit even smoother. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys think that the Kings should do about this whole situation? And just for fun, let me know which potential Fox destination that you guys like the most. Anyways guys, as always, there's some more going on in the basketball world that I need to be covering. But before I dip out, I do want to wish all of you guys a happy New Year's and hope that everybody had a happy holidays. Hopefully, this is a big year for all of us. Let's put in the work and make it happen. But yeah, thanks for watching the content and supporting the channel. You guys are the real MVPs. We're definitely just getting started, guys. I'm so excited. There's so much that I want to put into motion this year. I think that you guys are going to love the changes. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support this channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.